Free agency is basically over, guys. So what I'm going to be doing, guys, I'm going to be ranking your favorite team on how they did this free agency. Make sure to stick along this video so you know what your team got rated. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, guys. It really does help out a lot. It really does. Majority of you guys are not, but it really help out if you guys really did. I post videos every single day. So let's go, baby. This is going to be a longer video, so make sure to buck all up. Let's get down and dirty, baby. All right, guys, we're in Cap Friendly, the best NHL website. We love this website. It helps out so much. We're doing alphabetical order, and this is going to be showing what players each team signed on free agency. So let's get straight to it. First team is going to be the Anaheim Ducks. I'm not going to be talking about every single player because we only really care about the bigger players that they all signed that will make a huge difference. Anaheim Ducks, Radko Gudas, off of a Stanley Cup final appearance, did obviously lose against the Vegas Golden Knights, but he's a good acquisition for the team. Obviously, he's a little bit older in age, 33 years old. He's not the fastest player, but he is a player. When he's on the ice, you know he is there. $4 million for 3 years. That is a big cap, if I'm being honest with you. I don't think he should be getting that much money, but he is going to a lower end team, so it does make sense. Help the younger guys out. I do not hate that deal. Same thing with Alex Killorn. Very good player back in Tampa Bay. 6.25 for 4 years is a crazy number for Killorn. He's a very good player. At 33 years old, you're gonna be hating that contract probably the last 2 years of that, but it is what it is. Just like Gudas, he's gonna be helping out the younger players. My ranking for the Ducks is gonna be C- because they're gonna add depth to the team, but at the same time, I don't like those contracts. Let's go to the Arizona Coyotes, guys. These guys actually made a lot of good deals. Let's check them out. First one is gonna be Jason Zucker, my brother, signed for 1 year, $5.3 million. Great signing. Then they signed Bukestad, 2 years for $2.1 million. He's a good player. He's not the best player. He did play on Edmonton last year, so who knows? He is obviously going to the lower end team as well, but he's a decent player. Alexander Kerfoot as well, 3.5 for 2 years. He's an all right player. He was pretty good for Toronto. He was hit or miss. Sometimes he slid in the top 6. Sometimes he fell down to the bottom 6. So we're just trying to see what kind of player we do get when he's playing with the lower end players, not Austin Matthews. So we'll see what happens there. But in the end, overall, these guys did get better. They signed some depth players, Varel Galchenyuk, Stetcher, whatever. Some depth players. They did sign 2 pretty damn good players. Zucker, he should have a good year next year. He really should. You gotta love these contracts too. They're not long term. They're not going to be hurting you in the future. They're just helping your younger guys getting developed too. These guys are veteran presences that have done pretty good in their careers, and they could definitely help the younger people. And I think that'll happen. I think these guys will pop off. This might show Keller that you guys are trying to buy in more and get better, because you guys did trade for Dursey as well, who's a very good player as well. So this team could be looking better next year. Obviously, it's not going to be a playoff spot, but it's going to be an improvement. I'm going to rate it a B. Up next is going to be the Boston Bruins. This team, man, they had a lot of rumors going around them before free agency started, and I feel like it did not go right for them. But here's a couple good signings. James Van Riemsdyk for 1 year for $1 million. That's a good signing, man. He's a really good depth player. I'm not saying he's going to be changing the whole team. No, he's not going to be scoring 40 goals. He's a good bottom 6 guy. Has potential to slide up to the top 6. Milan Lucic is back in Boston. The big boy is back. He's not the greatest hockey player, if I'm being honest with you. 1.5 for 1 year does not hurt to take the risk. Does not hurt to take the risk at all. But really, other than that, they got Kevin Shattenkirk for depth on the back end. Not the greatest defenseman. He's out of his heyday. But still, it's just, I feel like Boston went for depth over replacing Bertuzzi, I guess, and Orlov. They really didn't replace those 2 studs. Like, those are studs. Obviously, this might mean, I don't know if Bergeron's coming back. If not, the forward core, man, that might not be the best anymore. It's not as deep as it was last year. Same on the defensive side. I would have loved if they at least got one of them back, or even replaced Bertuzzi or Orlov with a better player or an equal caliber player, and they did not do that. Maybe there's a trade coming, but as of today, the 3rd, they have done nothing. They've done nothing but sign depth. So we'll see what happens in Boston. I'm going to rank it a C+. I do like the depth they did add, but at the same time, I feel like the scoring, they didn't replace all the goals that those guys did. Up next is going to be the Buffalo Sabres, guys. Buffalo Sabres, they didn't do too much. They signed Eric Johnson. He's an older player. He's really not going to be too much. He did just leave Colorado for the first time. 3.2 for 1 year. It doesn't hurt, man. He's a good defenseman. Is he the best? No, he's not back in his heyday. Like I said before, he's not. that guy anymore, but he's still a solid guy that can help some younger players out. Tyson Jost, $2 million for 1 year. It is whatever, man. It's a good risk to have. It's a good risk to have. He does have some skill, and he hasn't really proven it all the time in the NHL, so you can't hate that. Connor Clifton, 3.333333 for 3 years, so $9.999999 million he makes. I don't hate the deal. He's not the best defenseman in the league. He's not the best, I'll tell you that, but he's not terrible. He definitely helps your team get better. So that's definitely an improvement for the back end on the Sabres, which that's what you asked for, man. That's really asked for. Sabres are definitely looking up after this free agency. Was it the best? No. So I'm going to rate it a C- for the Sabres. It wasn't the greatest, but you like the depth added. Up next is going to be the Calgary Flames. And yes, you see it right here. They did absolutely nothing, and all their players want to leave. This organization might be in uproar soon. Who knows what the Flames are going to do? They do have a lot of good players, but 3 of their top guys do not want to re-sign there. So there's going to be a lot of trades happening. They don't have much cap space, I think, to be able to sign anyone, but still, they could have done something. Maybe make a trade before and sign some good players, but that did not happen. Flames did nothing. So obviously, that will mean an F. Up next will be the Carolina Hurricanes, one of the free agency winners on my part here. Jesper Fast re-signed him. He's a very good player. He was pretty good, and he got some chemistry on that team. 2.4 for 2 years. I don't hate that contract at all. I don't hate it at all. Dmitry Orlov, the #1 free agency player, and he got 7.7 for 2 years. You got to love that contract too, because just in case he didn't turn out or to fit on the team perfectly or whatever, he's not locked up for 7 years, and then you're stuck with him. Then you're stuck with him, have to trade, all that kind of stuff. No. 2 years. Obviously, it could go the other way as well. He could pop off these 2 years, then demand $10 million. Who knows? Or just leave you right away. So obviously, it could go both ways. But hey, you're trying to win right now. I don't hate this for them. You did also re-sign both your goaltenders, Frederik Andersen and Antti Raanta. You got to like that, man. You got to like bringing back the goalie duo. Obviously, it's not the best goalie duo. They're getting older as well. And yes, Frederik Andersen does get hurt quite a lot. So we'll see what Andersen we get. Lower contract as well, 3.4 for 2 years. You gotta like that, man. He's just obviously a good starter goaltender at 3.4. You gotta like that. Obviously, if the injuries go away, and hopefully he can make this team go farther in the playoffs. Michael Bunting, I hear a lot of fans are iffy about him. He's a very skilled player, but I know he brings a lot of other stuff to the team. Might not be the best locker room guy, and I know all the refs don't like him, and the league doesn't like him, whatever, blah, 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 blah. He's a good player, man. He really is a good player. He fit into the Toronto's top 6. He fit with Matthews very well. He's a very good player. If he can get out of this extracurricular stuff, but he does have Brendan Moore as his coach, so maybe he can step up and make sure he locks in and doesn't do all that stuff. But who knows? I think he fits well on this team. I think he's going to be solid on this team. I don't think Hurricane fans are going to hate him at all. I think you're going to love him. This is the type of player you want on your team because he just brings that extra oomph. 4.5 for 3 years. I think it's a good contract for him. So Hurricanes, definitely in my book, got an A. Up next is going to be the Chicago Blackhawks. They got Bedard, so we thought, boom, we're going to sign everybody in free agency. Everybody wants to sign for and play with Bedard, and that did not happen. They signed one player, and it was Ryan Donato. Actually a pretty good player, $2 million for 2 years. You got to like. He's actually pretty good depth. Could also slide up to the top 6 if needed. Obviously, it's not the best. I think they could have done more. I think they should have done more. They had a lot of cap space, and they didn't really sign anybody. Like, you could have signed a lot of players, and they did not. So I gave him a D just because of that. Donato is a good player, good addition for sure. But I just feel like they could have done way more with the money they have, especially with Bedard. You could have built around him. Even short-term deals. I guess you're not trying to win as of next season. I get that. But I think you could have signed at least someone. Up next is going to be the Colorado Avalanche. They did quite a lot, not huge additions. There's a couple ones that I did not like at all, which is Miles Wood. $2.5 million for 6 years is nuts for the guy. He's 27 years old. He was good earlier on in his career in New Jersey, but he's a weird player. He's very good. He's very energetic. You gotta love that. He's very just go. But I feel like he's all skating, no brain. No disrespect at all. I just feel like he just skates and sometimes doesn't think. He takes bad timing penalties, which Colorado does not want when it comes to playoff time. But that's a lot of money for a lot of years for a bottom 6 guy. That might have an issue. I don't know, man. He's a good player. Maybe a new scenery does help him getting out of New Jersey, but still, I think he's a good player at times, but I feel like he's just sporadic and who knows what he's going to do. And sometimes he can't. He's not the smartest hockey player, but I'll be honest with you. Now, Jonathan Drouin is on the team. McKinnon's old teammate back in juniors. So you got to love that. And this is a low risk, high reward free agent signing. This is a big one for the Colorado Avalanche. Obviously, he has a lot of skill, but he doesn't really show it. But now he's playing with McKinnon. Maybe he gets more used to it and more free flowing and gets back to early days in on the Lightning. So 8.25, hey man, literally no money at all. Doesn't mean anything. Low risk, 1 year. If he does well, he earns another contract. Boom, 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 boom. But who knows? Really, who knows? That's really all they did. They didn't do too much besides that. So I'm gonna say C- because I like the depth, but at the same time, you could have done more. I feel like you could have done more. Your team is not perfect off of this, but I don't hate the contracts. I don't hate them. Up next is the Columbus Blue Jackets. They did absolutely nothing but just sign Fantilli. I feel like you guys should have done more, could have done more for sure. So I have to give you an F because you really signed no one. That's just how the game rolls. But Columbus, I like the team you have right now, but you guys needed definitely some more acquisitions. So I don't know why you didn't go for anyone else, but that's an F right there. Dallas Stars, guys, they didn't do too many things, but what they did, it was pretty damn good. Matt Duchene, 1 year, $3 million. What a great contract for Matt Duchene. Only 1 year as well. That's a great signing for the Stars. Depth scoring was what the Stars need. They need depth scoring, man. That's in playoff time. They need the depth. Robertson wasn't scoring, so they needed the depth to come up, and that's exactly what happened. Then when Robertson started scoring, the depth didn't show up. So besides Duchene, they did add some more depth pieces as well. Craig Smith, older player, but it does add a veteran presence to the team and some experience. Sam Steele, very good, skilled young player that will definitely help with this lineup. Can slide to the top six if needed, and obviously can do his role in the third. I don't think he fits on the fourth line, but third line definitely is calling his name. So I do not hate these additions for the Stars. I think it definitely got better. Their team definitely got better after free agency. So I'm gonna have to rate them a B. I think that's very solid free agency for the Stars. Up next is going to be the Detroit Red Wings. Yzerman, what is he going to be doing to help this team? Because obviously we all trust Yzerman. Do we trust him anymore though after this free agency? Let's check it out. I say yes, actually. I say yes, obviously. But let's see what they did. Daniel Sprong, very good young player. He has jumped on the scene the last couple years, especially last year in the Kraken. He played very well for the team. $2 million for 1 year. Does not hurt at all. He's betting on himself. You gotta love that for the kid. James Reimer just adds goalie depth because Nedeljkovic did leave, so you needed a backup goaltender. Justin Hall, I don't love this contract. I know a lot of Red Wings fans I have been talking to, they do not like it either. 3.4 for 3 years is kind of nuts for this player. Toronto Maple Leafs fans are loving it. They wanted him gone, and he's finally gone. He's not a terrible defenseman. He has his pros, he has his cons, but his cons do outweigh the pros sometimes. He does turn over the puck a lot, especially in his own zone. He does have some liabilities, obviously, but on this young Red Wings team, it's okay to take the chance because he was playing in a very big market in Toronto. So maybe since it's quieter, maybe he can do what he does. I don't really know though. That's a big risk right there. But Costin as well, $2 million for 2 years. I don't hate the deal. He's a good young player. Has a chance to be good. And why not take the chance if you're the Red Wings? I guess it makes sense. It does make sense. JT Compher as well, $5.1 million for 5 years. Big boy contract for JT Compher, but he's a good player, man. He really is. 20 years old, and I feel like he took this because he wasn't going to get this anywhere else. So it was a little bit bigger of a contract, but he's not a bad player. I know Red Wings fans don't like the contract. I get it, but you need a player like him. You need this player. So I think it's a good acquisition because your team got better. Your team definitely got better. He can fill into all those slots, so I do not mind that at all. Then Shane Gostisbehere, 4.1 for 1 year, so you gotta love that as well. He's a good offensive style defenseman who can put the puck in that, and he's okay on the back end. He's not the greatest defenseman, but he has the offensive upside, which you do love and want. So team definitely got better. And is it the best I've seen? No. So I'm gonna say A- for the Detroit Red Wings. Up next is the Edmonton Oilers. They didn't do too much, but with some of the players they did, they definitely hit it out of the park. Connor Brown, 7.75 for 1 year. Obviously there's a lot of signing bonus, but it doesn't go against the cap, so it's a really good signing right there because it doesn't go against your cap at all, and he has potentially to be a huge impact to this team. He's a very good player. He really is. He did just have a big injury last year, so we'll see if he can come back to that perfectly healthy. But why not take the risk, man? Why not take the risk if he's perfect? cool. He's a great year. Re-sign him. You know what I mean? Re-sign him for sure. And if not, hey, he just has 1 year and he just takes no cap. So I don't mind the signing at all. He's gonna be in this top 6. He's gonna add the depth scoring for this team. Jake Kajula, it's whatever, man. He's whatever. 2 million, 775 for 2 years. You don't like, it's whatever, man. Just from depth. Don't love them, these signings. Don't love them because your team isn't gonna get too much better. But you did add a good top 6 player. But I don't know if it's enough, man. I don't know if it's enough. I don't think it's enough. But I'm gonna say a C+ because Brown is a really good player on a really good contract. But he might not go to the back. He might not go back to where he was, or and is it enough? Is it enough? You guys have a huge need with 2 superstars on your team, and I just feel like it's not enough once again. We'll see if trades happen, but I don't know, man. I don't really know about the Edmonton Oilers. Florida Panthers are next. They did just lose the Stanley Cup Finals, so now what do they do on free agency? Let's check it out. Mike Riley, 1 year for $1 million. He's actually a very good player. He was on Boston the last couple of years. He's not the best player I've ever seen. I get he's not going to change your team. He's a very good depth defenseman. Play maybe in the top 4, most likely in the third pairing. So you don't hate that. I think it's good depth. I don't think he will be a bad player on their team. He is definitely going to be a good depth piece. Kulikov's back. That's whatever. He's a depth piece just like Riley. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, 2.2 for 1 year. I don't mind this. I don't mind it at all. I think it's a good take a chance on the guy, because if it doesn't work, cool, it doesn't work. It's only 1 year contract, not too much of a cap hit either. And he has offensive upside to help Montour and help Ekblad out, so I don't think that's a bad one at all. Then yesterday they signed Evan Rodriguez for a 4-year contract for $3 million. He's a very, very good player. Can slide into the top 6. He could replace Anthony Duclair on this Florida team. He's a very good player. He's a really, really good shot. Can play power play. He's a very good player. Definitely is going to help this Florida Panthers team. I think that is a huge, huge signing for the Panthers. So I'll be rating the Panthers a B. The LA Kings now, they really didn't do too much after the trade for Pierre-Luc Dubois. They re-signed a couple players. They got David Riddick and Cam Talbot as their goaltenders. This is one big issue for the Kings is going into next year is the goaltending, man. What are they going to do? They have Copley, Talbot, Riddick. 3 backup goaltenders, in my opinion. This is going to be their big downfall. Just like the Oilers. I mean, maybe the Knights, maybe they're hoping for Aiden Hill in one of these goaltenders, which I just don't understand, man. I just don't get it. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what they're gonna do. Cam Talbot is most likely the starter, maybe Copley, but I don't like it, man. Trevor Lewis is back from the Stanley Cup teams, but he's just depth. Like, he's whatever. But I don't love the goaltender situation. I love the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade, but I just feel like the goalies are gonna let the Kings down when it comes to playoff time. So for that, I'm gonna have to rate them a D. The Minnesota Wild, they did absolutely nothing besides 2 random older players that will play in the AHL. Don't like it at all, man. Don't like it at all. I don't like this roster at all, but the cap issue is big here in Minnesota. But they had cap space to make at least a couple moves, and they did not do that at all. I don't know what Bill Guerin is stirring up, but it's nothing right now. It's nothing right now. So for that, I'm going to have to give them an F. Then it's going to be the Montreal Canadiens, and it's going to be the same exact thing. They signed 4 players. All okay players, whatever. None of them are going to be huge impacts. This team didn't sign anyone new, so I'm going to say an F for them. Up next is going to be the Nashville Predators. Didn't do too much, but which ones they did are really, really good. It's going to be Gustav Nyquist, 2 years, $3.1 million. Very good signing, very good. Top 6 player, could also go on the third line if needed. Luke Schenn is going to help the defensive side. 2.7 for 3 years is a really good contract for Luke Schenn. Coming out of Toronto, he actually played pretty damn good in Toronto. He's a very good lockdown defenseman. Has offensive upside maybe, but that's not what he's really known for. So you got to give it to them. I think he's a good player for sure. Re-signed Cody Glass. He's good, whatever. 2.5 might be a little too much for him actually, but it's whatever. Then the big one obviously is Ryan O'Reilly. 4.5 for 4 years. I'm just trying to understand what is the goal in Nashville. What are they trying to win now? Because you still have Forsberg, you still have Yossi, you still have Soros in net. You have a good team, but why buy out Duchesne? You still have cap space, you know what I mean? Like, you could have done more, but I thought you were going to be rebuilding, retooling, but now you're retooling. Like, I'm trying to understand what the goal here is, Nashville. But you have a team that is going to maybe make the wild card, maybe make wild cards, and you're not winning the playoff series. So, like, what is the point of this? I don't really know. Don't really know at all, but I have to give them, off of these moves, I'm gonna have to give them an A. Up next is the New Jersey Devils. They really didn't do too much because obviously they did re-sign Meyer and Bratt, so they didn't have too much money to really play with, so they really didn't sign anyone that good, if I'm being honest with you. That will actually affect the lineup. Bastion, just a depth piece, man, just a depth piece. But so for that, I'm gonna have to give them a D because they really didn't do anything, but at the same time, I don't think they really needed to do anything. Up next is going to be the New York Islanders. Didn't sign too many players. They just re-signed. They didn't sign any new players. They just re-signed other guys. Pierre Engvall, Varlamov, Mayfield, and Sorokin. Sorokin got the bag, 8.2 for $8 million. You gotta love that. Mayfield is a good defenseman, 3.5 for 7 years. It's kind of nuts, but hey, he's a good defenseman. You could have done that to Devontae's, but hey, that's just me. Varlamov 2.7 for 4 years. That's kind of nuts for a backup goaltender. Like, that's kind of crazy actually. And Pierre Engvall, $3 million for 7 years. Like, that's an overpay in my opinion. He's good, but he's not that good. I'm gonna be honest with you, he's not that good. So all for this, I'm gonna have to give you a C because these three signings are good. You needed these players, but you didn't sign anyone new. Like, you still need the goal scoring depth, man. I say it every Islanders video, and all you Islanders fans, you get mad at me, but you guys know it too. Horvat and Barzal can't do it themselves. You know, they need some other players. Up next is going to be the New York Rangers. They did a lot in free agency, but was it good enough? First one I'm going to go over is going to be Blake Wheeler. $1 million contract for 1 year. Low risk, high reward. First time off the Jets. What is he going to do? Is he going to be on the fourth line? Is he going to be on the third line? I don't really know, but he does have very good passing, playmaking ability that could maybe play him in the top six. He's not the greatest anymore. We all know this. He's not the greatest anymore, but he still has offensive upside that can be lethal on this team. Badino is whatever, man. He's low contract, fourth liner. If he's healthy, he can make some noise there. Jonathan Quick is going to be the backup. This team he grew up liking, I'm pretty sure, I think they said. But obviously, he's not the greatest backup. And if I'm being honest with you, he did just win a Stanley Cup without playing the game. It's whatever. You got to love that for the guy. Riley Nash, 2 years, 7.75. They just added depth players, man. No superstar, no all-stars added, no top players added. I don't know if that's a good thing. Rangers playoff, when they lost the playoffs this year, was it off of depth? I don't know. I just feel like the superstars didn't score. So I don't really know if this is what the Rangers needed. So we'll see what the Rangers can build with this. But I feel like they might not be done. But I just don't know if this is enough, man. If Blake Wheeler comes out and he's really, really good, then maybe that could be a huge acquisition and make it game changing. At the same time, I don't know if I like all these players. So for that ranking, I'm going to give them a C+ for the ranking for the Rangers. Up next is going to be the Ottawa Senators. They did okay. They re-signed some of their players. They got Jonas Korpisalo, their goaltender of the future, $4 million for 5 years. I don't hate this contract. Obviously, is he the best goaltender? No. But you have a goalie now who is still younger, 29. He's not too old. He showed promise last season with the Kings when he did get traded. He wasn't very good in Columbus, but he got traded to a pretty good defense and actually stood on his head and played pretty good hockey for the Kings. But with the Senators, their defense isn't the greatest. So is it going to be back in Columbus where he got lit up? Who really knows? But I don't hate taking a chance on this goaltender because he has shown good promise. We'll see if he can keep it up because Ottawa, they really need a goalie. Since that's basically all they signed, I'm going to say C+ for the Senators. Up next is going to be the Philadelphia Flyers. They didn't sign too many people, just basically some depth players. Ryan Poehling from the Penguins. He's all right. He's a pretty good fast player, fourth liner. Just he plays their brand of hockey, if I'm being honest with you. Same with obviously Garnet Hathaway. Plays the dirty style, physical style. 2.3 for 2 years. Don't hate it, man. Don't hate it. Mark Stahl, good depth defenseman, veteran presence for the team. So they got better, but it's really not going to help their goal scoring issues or anything like that. Defense is still probably an issue. They're definitely, Carter Hart is still probably not happy with this, but they got better in the bottom six for sure. So for that, I'm going to have to give them a C. It's not game changing, but it definitely helped them out. Up next is the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm a Penguins fan. Don't know how I really feel with this team. We got Alex Nedeljkovic for goaltender depth. Don't hate that. Signed Tristan Jarry, 5.3 for 5 years. I'm iffy on that, man, because Jarry obviously has injury history and hasn't been the best in playoffs. So, like, hit or miss on this, man, because he is a good goalie at times. But when does he not? Like, when does he show his greatness? Not that often, let me be honest. Ryan Graves, 4.5 for 6 years. He's a good defenseman, 20 years old. Don't hate it, don't love it at the same time. I'm quite in the middle. Long contract, high contract for a defenseman. He'll fit in the top 4. I don't hate it, man. I don't hate it. I gotta respect the move. He's definitely helped our defensive core. He's better than Dumoulin right now, so I think we got better with it. Noah Chari is actually a really good player. $2 million for 3 years. 31, but he's a feisty man. He's feisty in the bottom 6, and he puts a lot of pucks on that, man. He's really good at that. He's shooting on all cylinders. Might not all go in, but he shoots the puck for sure. That definitely helps our bottom 6. Lars Eller, 2.4 for 2 years. He's not the greatest offensively, but he's a very good defensive player. So you gotta like that, because the Penguins are not very good at defense. Then other than that, Zahorna, whatever, just some depth players. But I don't hate this, man. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Matt Nieto, actually, I did forget 2 years for 900. Not a bad player, honestly, not a bad player for the bottom 6. So our bottom 6 got better, which was a huge issue for the Penguins last year. Obviously, we did trade for Riley Smith, so we have our top 6, and our depth did get better. Defense got a little better. Goalie Jari, hopefully, and pray he does good in these 5 years, but we'll see. So for that, I'm gonna have to say a B-. It's good, but might not be great for Pittsburgh. Up next is the San Jose Sharks. They didn't do too much. They signed Mackenzie Blackwood, 2.3 for 2 years. He's not the greatest goalie, man, but he has potential, so that's why I kind of like this for the Sharks. Why not take the risk? You guys suck. You guys suck. We all know this. Your fans know this. I'm sorry, I'm being honest. You suck. Why not take a chance on a goalie that has skill but hasn't shown it recently? Is not very consistent. 2.3. It's not a huge number either, man. If it goes wrong, just 2 years, man. So I don't hate this at all for the Sharks at all. Other than that, just sign some depth players: Burrows, Carpenter, Sabrin. It's whatever, man. Like, team didn't get too much better, if I'm being honest with you. So for that, I'm gonna say a C. Up next is gonna be the Seattle Kraken, guys. They lost a lot of players actually in free agency. A lot of good players. Did they replace them? No, they did not. Ryan Dumoulin, 3.1 for 2 years. He's a little slower in Pittsburgh. Obviously, he was part of our dynasty when we won our 2 Stanley Cups. He was the centerpiece with the tang on our back end, but now he's obviously lost a step, and his confidence hasn't been great. He's a good puck-moving defenseman, but he's a liability on the back end, if I'm being honest with you. So I think that is an L for the Kraken, especially losing Carson Soucy. I think that is a downgrade for them. Then Tyler Yamamoto, 1.5. I don't hate it. He's not great, but you took a chance on him, so I don't hate it. For that, I'm gonna give you a C. Up next, we're going to be doing the St. Louis Blues. They really did nothing, guys. All they signed is Malcolm Subban, and that right there should show you what I'm going to be rating them, and it's going to be a D. Like, what did you guys do to get better at all? Your team is not the greatest right now, and you guys did nothing. That's an easy D. Up next is going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning. They made some okay signings. Connor Sheary, 3 years, $2 million. I don't hate the guy. I don't hate the contract. He is a Stanley Cup champion, so that is some experience as well, even though the Tampa Bay team has a lot of experience already. Good. Top 6 maybe can slide in there, but most likely a third-line player. Josh Archibald, former Penguin, 2 years, $800,000. Don't hate the guy, honestly. He's actually a really good player. He's a good fast-paced player. He always gives it his all. Playing through injuries a lot. He's just always go. And sometimes he could put the puck in the net. So I actually like that signing for Archibald and the Lightning. Clendening, DeHaan, just some depth pieces as well. Nothing too much for this team. I don't hate it, but I don't love it as well, because they have lost a lot of players recently. They didn't, like, who's replacing Killorn here? I don't really know, man. I don't really know. So I'm gonna give them a C for the Lightning. Up next is gonna be the Toronto Maple Leafs, everybody. Toronto Maple Leafs, and boy, did they do a lot of stuff. Ryan Reeves, 3 years, 1.3. A lot of people are not liking it. I like the player. I don't like the contract. 1.3 for 3 years is kind of nuts. He's already 36 years old. I feel like towards the end of that contract, it is not going to go well for him and the Leafs. Even if he gets bought out, I think the cap hit still goes against them, so I don't think that is good. But team got tougher, and he's a really good locker room player. You guys really don't understand how much that really affects the team. When he's in the locker room, morale's high, free throwing, and they're just vibing, man. They're just vibing on the ice. He makes the team safer. They just feel safer to play, I guess, when he's on the ice, because he knows he can fuck anyone up. I'm being honest. Excuse my language. He can fuck anyone up. I really like that signing contract. But John Klingberg, very bad at defense. 4.1 for 1 year. Low risk, high reward. I guess I could say that, because his defense is kind of risky, if I'm being honest with you. But the offensive upside can overdo it. Can really overdo the bad on the defensive side of the puck. Even though Toronto is not the greatest on the D side of the puck, so it might be a little bad combination there, but he can score really, really well with the best of them. Tyler Bertuzzi, Max Domi were signed yesterday. 5.5 for Bertuzzi and $3 million for Domi. Really good contracts, only for 1 year as well. So basically, they're all in this next season. They're both gritty players, which is really, really nice. They'll floor the body. They can, obviously, we know Domi, he'll suck a bunch of anyone without knowing, but they give the Leafs a new identity that they really didn't have before. Reeves, Bertuzzi, Domi. They like playing physical. They can also score. Obviously, Reeves is not scoring, but Domi can score. He had a really good season with the Stars after he got traded last year. Good playoffs as well. Bertuzzi obviously didn't do that great in Boston, but did not have much time. But Bertuzzi is a really good player, and Domi's a really good player, going back to his dad's team, which is really good right there. So I think a lot of people are saying this is not a great for the Leafs. It's hit or miss, man. It's either going to work or it's not going to work, if I'm being honest with you. And I have to give it an A because they got really good players, but the fit is still a question mark, if I'm being honest. The fit is still a question mark. The defense might not be the greatest, but now they have no money. Samsonov is not signed. Who they're going to have to trade? Is Nylander gone now? I don't really know. So a lot of questions with Toronto, but with these acquisitions, I got to say an A. Up next is going to be the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver Canucks actually liked a couple of these signings here. Carson Soucy from the Kraken, very good defenseman, younger defenseman. He's 28 years old, I guess. He's not super young. 3.2 for 3 years is a good contract for the guy. He's a very solid defenseman. He will do bits in Vancouver. Teddy Bluger from Vegas. He just won a Stanley Cup. 1.9 for 1 year. Low risk, high reward. He's a third, fourth line player. Can maybe slide in the top 6. I doubt it though. But most likely a third line player. But he's actually a pretty damn good player. He's a smart, feisty guy. Will just skate forward, and just keep going. He can score sometimes too. Other than that, Ian Cole, some depth on the back end. $3 million for 1 year. Stanley Cup champion. He's a veteran. Maybe can help Quinn Hughes or something like that and get this defense locked in. So the Vancouver Canucks definitely got better here. I like the defensive signings. I think that really helps their defense because the defenses are one huge issue. Hopefully Demko can stay healthy, whatever. So I'm going to say B+ for the Vancouver Canucks. Up next is going to be the Vegas Golden Knights. Stanley Cup champions. They didn't do anything, man. They really didn't do anything. They signed some AHL guys. So other than that, they literally did nothing. They did nothing. They lost a couple players. So I don't really know. I think their depth is kind of iffy here now. I feel like their depth might not be as good as it was last year. But obviously, I'm going to have to give them an F because they really didn't sign any NHLers. So that is that. But obviously, this is still Stanley Cup champs. So you can't really expect too much for this team. Washington Capitals, only 2 more left, baby. Let's see what the Capitals did here. Really didn't do much, man. They took a risk on Max Pacioretty. $4 million for 1 year, low risk, high reward. This team is not going to be any good next year. I'm going to be honest with you. They're just trying to get Ovi some goals. They're taking a risk on Pacioretty, man. He obviously has had some big, tough injuries in his career recently in Carolina and Vegas. So hopefully he can maybe stay healthy. But yeah, man. Yeah. Is he going to be that good? I wouldn't be surprised if he puts up 35. I don't think he's scoring 30 or anything like that. He's not going to be pushing for the playoffs with this team. I'll be honest with you. This team does not look that good, if I'm being honest with you. This team is not that good. So for that, I'm going to have to give him a C+ because you guys, he's a good player, but low risk, high reward. Is it really going to be rewarding for the team? I don't really know. But hey, it's a good contract for the guys. Why not? Why not try to get a little bit better on the front side? Last team here is going to be the Winnipeg Jets, guys. They really didn't do too much. Colin Delia, whatever, backup goalie. Same thing with Brossois, 1.7 for 1 year. I don't know if this means Connor Hellebuyck's gone. Brossois is back in Winnipeg. He obviously did just beat them in playoffs, which is kind of funny. He beat his own team. Now he's back in the team. Whatever. But Pierre-Luc Dubois is gone. Scheifele wants out. Hellebuyck wants out. Wheeler's gone. What do they do, man? What did they do? They have all these people that don't want to be here, and they didn't really sign anyone good to help this team out. I feel like this team is going to take a major downfall next year unless they do something with some trades. But other than that, Winnipeg, I'm going to have to give them a C for this because Brossois could be a good goaltender. Actually, Nemestikov as well, $2 million for 2 years. He's not a bad player, but he's not great, man. He's not a game changer. He's just a depth piece that could put the puck in the net sometimes. But other than that, man, I'm going to have to rate him a C. Comment down below. What do you think about your ranking? What do you rate your own team? What do you rank other teams around the NHL? Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. It guys really, really does help out a lot. It really, really does. Thank you so much for being here. Much love. One thing, you guys, be great. And I'll see you guys later.